Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Monday Night Live, the first one for the 2022 new year. My name is Arden. I'm delighted to be with Mike Pagan today. Mike's a fantastic guy. He and his wife, Sarah, and his family brought up 8 Labradors over the last 2 months, 8 Labrador puppies, who are all destined for Guide Dogs for the Blind, which is a fantastic charity which does a brilliant job and helps blind and partial sighted people get around by these fantastic dogs that are so trainable. And I'm just going to share my screen and show you some of these dogs that Mike has brought up, and ask Mike 1 or 2 questions. Mike, you're there, aren't you? Thanks for joining us. Those were those the pictures when they were born?
No, these were probably 3-4 weeks old.
Oh, wow.
I mean, when they're born, you can hold them in your hand. I mean, they weigh on average about 200 grams. So they're very small and very cute and completely blind. They can't smell anything and deaf. All they can do is smell milk, and then mum does all the work. It's a charity. My wife and I, we've been part of for many years, and when I was talking to you, Derek, about it, you thought, oh, let's share a few things on it, because it's one of those areas where we basically foster the mum. The guide dogs pay for everything, but we give her a home, and then every other season when she comes in, we take her into the breeding center where she meets her stud. And admittedly, Minnie is our breeder at the moment, and she came back after the first time and she gave that look as in, what have you done to me? She didn't look very happy. But over the years, we've had 2 breeders. This is 50 puppies we've had now in total. And the guide dogs, they're a great charity. They work with it. About 50% are successful that go on to get through and take on being guide dogs. They either go through the training, they all go through training, and then they go into either the breeding program or into the joys of the first session, 4 months training 1, then 4 months for advanced, and then 12 weeks with their new owners as they get to know each other and so on. So it's intensive, which is why it's Brits love dogs, so it's one of the ones. And this picture here just shows all the different silly names, because we call them whatever, because at the end of the day they're all sponsored. So then they go back out into the world, and other people choose their names and pay lots of money for it. Yoda was one of the cutest, because Yoda had little pointy out ears that looked like Yoda, so hence that was the name that she got.
Yeah, and do they change their names? Mike, are you saying, or the names already? The names.
These names are ancient history now. So Yoda is now Clara. Totty is now Evans. Bagheera is now Daisy. But those are the sponsored names that the other people have come up with for them. And they're some of it. Well, we don't think half the names quite suit. I mean, Ragnar. That was the feistiest of all. I mean, that she used to bite and drag the others by the tail and do everything else.
Mike, a quick question from my wife. She's worried about what happens to the dogs that don't make the training, that don't pass, that can't go out to family.
There's a whole big wait list for. They used to call them reject puppies and failed puppies, and now they're repurposed. And basically, there's a waiting list. So whether or not you're looking for dogs that are coming out at the age of 12, 15 months, who have gone through the puppy walking process and they just don't get into first training because they've got a skin complaint, their eyesight's bad or whatever it is. So there's an ongoing process there. Our bitch Minnie, she's been retired now because she's had 2 problem deliveries through her. So she had 8. Only 5 made it, and then you can see here there's 8. So she actually adopted 3 others. So hence some of them are a little bit different in the look. We've got 5 Labrador Retriever crosses there and 3 German Shepherd Retriever crosses. And the personalities of the dog types and everything else was huge. But it was lots of fun. I mean, and thoroughly rewarding. The Battle of the Somme every morning was a bit unpleasant, to say the least, because clearly they don't have table manners of where they're meant to go and everything else. But they're just very, very cute. And we had people coming around on a regular basis to smile sweetly. And the guide dogs, as a charity, they actually put a lot of effort into having puppy hours, and they sell them, and they sell out immediately. So we had lots of people coming through. So instead of having a charity pot on the table, we set up, oh, thank you, Derek, you just put up the link there. We set up a fundraising page for it, which has been successful. So it's people just wanted to donate towards the guide dogs going through this process, but meant that there was a QR code on the side of the laundry door as people went in, and they just took a snap of that and made quite a lot of money for them, which is great. And Derek, yourself, you've been very generous in here supporting us. So thank you again for that. It's a great environment, and we are quite happy now to be at the retirement age for Minnie, because we won't do it again.
Okay,
we've done our 50, and we've had 15 dogs in training as well in between the two breeders. So it's been a great journey, and I'm happy to be at the end of it now.
Okay, Mike. Well, on behalf of Monday Night Live and everybody on here, can we congratulate you on what you've done and give you the usual round of applause, please, because that's a fabulous job. And if Amy, who wouldn't mind if she's there, taking a copy of that link and putting it in the chat box in a minute, that would be very helpful as well. I wish I could do it myself, but I'm not that good at the old multitasking, as people know. So Mike and Sarah, congratulations and thanks so much for what you've done, because it makes a massive difference to people, and opening your home and putting up with what you put up with over the last 8 weeks is sensational.
No, thank you very much for giving me the airtime. It's a great charity. It's hard work. Yes, it's lots of poo and pee and mess and nonsense, but the cuteness and the rewarding stuff around it is very heartwarming and good for the soul. Part of my self-care, as many of you have heard me talk about before, doing good and doing right by others. We all do it in our own different ways, and that's a one that we do.
Great job, Mike.